Welcome. I'm happy to have you here today. If you could be a superhero, what would you like to be? And what superpowers would you have? You can think about that. Well, today we're going to talk about a superhero that's in the Bible named David. But first, Dr. Drum wants to teach us a new song.
Good morning, girls and boys. This is Dr. Drum again, and it's Sunday morning, and we're going to learn a new song today. And it's called My God is So Big. And I'm going to sing it through once, and then we'll break it down and practice it together. The words are very easy. So you'll listen to it once, and then we'll sing it together. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. He made the trees, He made the seas, He made the elephant too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do for you. Okay, now, the words, as I said, are very easy. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. And then we repeat that again. And then we get to a section, He made the trees and He made the seas. He made the elephant too, because he's big and strong. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do for you. So let's do it together. We'll sing it a couple times. Ready? My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. He made the trees, He made the seas, He made the elephant too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do for you. Okay, let's do it again. Very, very good singing. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. He made the trees, He made the trees, He made the seas, He made the elephant too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do for you. Very, very good. Have a good Sunday school lesson. Bye-bye now.
Hello everyone, how are you? Good to see you. I'm glad to see you again this week. Let's start with our welcome song, okay? God loves me, God loves me, God loves everyone and God loves me. God loves Connolly and Celeste and Evan and Henry and Wyatt and Miles and Caroline and Adelaide and Charlotte. God loves Connolly and Celeste and Henry and Evan and Wyatt and Miles and Catherine and Adelaide and Charlotte. God loves everyone and God loves me. God loves our families. God loves our families. God loves everyone and God loves our families. God loves Dr. Coles. God loves Dr. Coles. God loves everyone and God loves Dr. Coles. All right. Well, today we have another fun story, and I know we've learned so much this year. We've learned about the creation, how God created the world, about Abraham and Sarah and Rebecca and Isaac and Esau and Jacob. We talked about Moses and the 10 plagues and Moses and the Red Sea and then the 10 commandments. And last week we talked about Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. And today we get another fun story, the story of David and Goliath. I like this story. So it reminds me a little bit about the song that Dr. Drum sang for us today too, about my God is so big, because my God is so big that he's bigger than any mountains. He's bigger than, what's big? Bigger than the trees, bigger than the earth. My God is so big that he can take care of anything. And in the story today, my God can help David beat Goliath. So that will be part of our story today. So, let me tell you that story. In the Bible, it talks about a king named Saul, who started out being a pretty good king, but then he started disobeying God. So God told his prophet Samuel that he needed to go find someone else who could be king in the future. So God told Samuel to go to Bethlehem and meet a man named Jesse. And Jesse had 8 sons, and one of them would be the future king. So first of all, Samuel met the oldest son of Jesse, who was an older guy, a big guy, and he looked very much like he could be a good king. But God said, no, that's not the guy. He may be big and strong, but I'm really looking for what's in their heart. So then he met other boys in the family of Jesse. He met many of them, because there was a total of 8 of them. And when he was done, he said, but isn't there someone missing? Isn't there someone missing, Jesse? And Jesse said, well, I have my son, David, but he's a young boy and he's a shepherd out in the field. And Samuel said, well, bring David to me. So they brought David, and Samuel said, oh my goodness, God had told him, this is the boy. And so what Samuel did is he anointed David, and he said he will be the future king, and God will be with him. God's power will be with him. Well, that was pretty exciting, but nothing much happened immediately after that. David continued to tend the sheep in the field, and he loved doing that. David was someone who loved to play instruments and to sing songs and write poems. And in fact, in the Bible, we have a whole book called Psalms, which are all the poems and songs that David wrote. Well, meanwhile, Saul, remember that king that David was going to replace one day? Well, he and the Israelites, and David was an Israelite, his army was fighting the Philistines. And the Philistines had a very special soldier with them, Goliath. Do you see him? Goliath had a sword and a spear and a shield. And the other thing you should know about Goliath is that he was 9 feet tall. You can't see it, but if I can't touch the ceiling, but Goliath would even be taller than my ceiling. He was that tall. He was a big guy. And every day, Goliath, wearing his armor, having his shield, he'd walk out and he'd face the Philistines, and he would say, choose someone to come and fight me. If he wins, we will be your servants. But if I win, you will be our servants. Would you want to fight this guy who was taller than the ceiling? I don't think so. And the Israelites were afraid. And David's brothers, the older brothers who were in the army, they were afraid. And Jesse had heard, the father, remember, had heard about Goliath too. And he asked David to bring the brothers some food and to see how they were doing and report back to him. So David left and he carried the food and he went to the battlefield. And when he went there, he saw Mr. Goliath stepping out and shouting again, "Who will fight me? Who will fight me?" And David saw that everybody was afraid. And so he went up to King Saul and he said, "I'll fight Goliath." How can a little boy fight Goliath, the giant? Well, Saul was a little surprised, King Saul was. But he said, "Okay, but you must wear some armor and get dressed up like a soldier." David tried on the armor, but it was way too big for him. It was too heavy and he could barely lift the sword. And David said, "When I'm out in the field, that's not how I protect myself. I just have my sling, and God is there. God is there to help protect me and to help protect my sheep, and God will protect me too." So David went to a nearby brook, a little river, and he picked up 5 smooth stones, and he put them in a pouch that was tied around his waist. And he had a slingshot, which is like 2 pieces of wood with a band, and throw like this and can shoot stones or rocks or other things. And David marched out into the middle of the field and he said, "I will fight you, Goliath." Goliath looked at him, if I can show Goliath again, and he kind of laughed. What was this little boy doing wanting to fight him? And he started walking and laughing, but he started walking menacingly in a very scary way towards David. And David, he just took a stone out of his pouch and put it in his slingshot, and he hurled it at Goliath. And he hit Goliath right in the middle of the forehead, and Goliath fell down, and he fell down dead. David had killed Goliath, but he had killed Goliath because God was with him. God guided him. And that's what he had told Goliath. "You can fight with your sword and spear, but I come in the name of God," he said. "This is God's battle." And David won. So everybody was happy and they were rejoicing. They were singing and celebrating David. And David went on to live with King Saul for a little while. And later, he became the king. There's David as king later on, playing some of his instruments. David had trusted God, and God helped David win, because God is bigger than the Goliath. God is bigger than all of our troubles. God loves us and takes care of us, and we should be glad too. So maybe we can tell the story again, and you can shut off this film for a little bit and play the story. But I'm going down and coming back up. I have a fun game for you. I sent this to your house and cut out the circle here because this is Goliath. And you know what you can do? You can tape this on the wall behind you, and you can pretend that you're David. And you can go up and march up to Goliath there, and you can tell Goliath, "You fight with a sword and a spear, but I come to you in the name of God. This is God's battle, and God is with me." And then you can throw something and see if you can go through and hit his forehead. Now you can throw balls, or you could throw maybe some little things, but you know what I like to throw? Marshmallows. I like to throw marshmallows. Let me see. I missed. Let me try one more time. Right like that, it went through. And you can throw another marshmallow through, and you can pretend to be David and Goliath. And then maybe if your mom or your dad or your guardian are willing, you can eat it too. I like to eat marshmallows too. Okay. I've also sent you a coloring page of David and Goliath. And I hope that you can maybe color that too. And remember the story. And if you want to play this video over again and hear the story over again. But now before you go, I wanted to remind you again about our special project that we're doing. Remember our project, how we want to love your neighbor and feed the poor? That we have a special project where we're reading books and saving money in our piggy bank so that we can give money, we can use money, the money we raise, that are going to go buy different animals. And this time, we're going to learn about another important animal. This is a llama. Have you seen a llama before? I like llamas. They're big and tall. We've talked about cows and goats and chickens. Well, llamas are found in part of the world in South America, and maybe you can find that on a map with your mom or dad or guardian and see where they live. They're from Peru and Bolivia and Ecuador, and they live up in the mountains with the people there. And sometimes they're called the camels of the clouds. That's kind of funny. But camels we know in deserts, and they can carry things on their back. Well, llamas carry things on their back for the people there, but they're up in the mountains where the clouds are. So some people call them camels of the clouds. And that's my kitty cat coming to investigate with me. But llamas are really important for the people there. They can help carry things, as I said. And they are also really good climbers. And so they can get around and eat and move around in the Rocky Mountain areas. They can grow up to be maybe 15, sometimes 30 years old, and they weigh over 350 pounds, which is a lot. Camels are also important. You can see with their shaggy fur that people can take their fur and they can make sweaters and ponchos. They can weave beautiful ponchos that the people there wear. And camels are also good even for their manure, again, like other animals. Manure, you know, their poop. They can take that and put that in the gardens, and that's like fertilizer, and that can help their gardens grow better. And of course, people can also sell llamas for money, which then they can go and buy food for themselves and for their families. And so in some parts of the world, llamas are really important. And so I'd like you to think about llamas this week as you think about maybe putting some money in your piggy bank or reading some books to raise money so that we can use that money to purchase llamas or chickens or cows or other animals to help people in the poor parts of the world have good animals that will help them be stronger and give them what we say a livelihood, a chance to live a much better life. So think about that this week, and I pray that you have a wonderful week with your family. Be sure to give them a big hug this week, and remember that God is bigger than anything, okay? Bye-bye, guys. Have a wonderful week. I miss you.